It's fascinating how the human spirit can bounce back from almost anything. And I've read some stories about people who have been through some unimaginable hardships. I mean, and they literally come out on the other side, not just surviving, but literally thriving. It's like life throws them a curveball just to test to see how far it can stretch their resilience. And speaking of resilience, this young man right here, he goes to sleep with a dream, wakes up with a purpose when most people would have given up a long time ago. Um, he is the epitome of human strength. And not only that, he's from the south side of Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Dixon, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great, and thank you so much. I mean, I think that was that best intro that I've ever been given. So I
Oh,
really appreciate that Chicago love. I felt that right there.
I almost felt like I didn't have enough words. But let me say something. I know so many people come at you at different directions, just to have a conversation and or interview. How is it that you wake up every morning and still able to pour into other people's lives?
It wasn't until like really young, having the accident, being mauled by pit bulls when I was 8 years old.
Mhm.
I've always, before even the accident, after the accident, I've always cared about others. Even when I was going through something or I was hurt or growing up in a domestic violence household where there was a lot of abuse occurring, I've always just wanted to help. I've always wanted to just help someone or share my food with my brother if he wanted something. Like being able, I've always been that kind of person. So when the accident happened to me, it was a lot of figuring out how to kind of being forced to kind of grow up a lot faster than I needed to because there's a lot of maturity that comes with having to take a lot of those surgeries that I had to undergo. But it's also that I realized that through the pain that I was going through the tears that I've had, I've been able to use those tears to help other people and to be able to, I call it using tears to grow roses and grow
Mhm.
those and give those roses to the next person. And in that response of having a conversation that we're not having enough of, being able to just pour, it helps me heal. It helps me find purpose. It helps me not want to have a suicide attempt where it helps me from self-harming. It keeps me motivated and it gives me purpose. I have a lot of sleepless nights because of my PTSD,
Mhm.
but doing what I'm doing and being an impact to this world, helping create better conversations regarding ableism, regarding disability, regarding suicide, regarding mental health, regarding being a young black male from Chicago, and how people look down on how they racially profile me as a Chicagoan, and then also having the facial impairments. So
Right.
there's many layers to that onion that I'm always peeling, and in that peeling, in letting myself be openly vulnerable, letting vulnerability be a strength for me, keeps me alive. It keeps me feeling. Feeling is healing, so it keeps my emotions intact. I'm able to feel my emotions rather than using substances to feel emotions. By talking, by communicating, by being truthfully, even if the environment is safe for me to be truthful or not safe, that catharticism that I'm feeling, like it keeps me going. And I've always seen a positive reaction. I've always heard stories from years later how someone saw me in the hospital
Mhm.
like several years ago, and that motivated them to do something totally different later down the road. So that motivates me to know that, like, even though I'm such a small person, because of what I've been through and because the gift that God gave me to use my tears to give purpose to others allows me to get a lot of that purpose back, and
I
that
love it.
keeps the engine going, keeps the engine going.
We live in a world where people are vain. They want to change a lot of themselves for no reason. There's some people that have to, and there's some things medically why it makes sense. But there's some people that just aren't happy with themselves, right? For me, I got this scar on my forehead from when I was a kid, and I first learned how to ride a bike at 5 years old. Right here, I got a scar from playing baseball with stones. Right there, if you can see that one, that's when I first learned how to do gymnastics in the grass, and I hit my face on a piece of glass on Garfield Boulevard. Here, my brother threw down the garbage because I was too lazy to go back up and down to pick it up, and my nose was broken. I was left with this scar as well. I'm okay with me. I'm okay with the version I've been because I've been this person most of my life. Some people can't accept the new norm when they've gone through something. How is it so easy for you?
It took a long time to adjust because having the surgeries that I've had, you often go to sleep with one face and you wake up with a whole another one.
Mm.
And you look in the mirror constantly, you don't really know who you are.
Right.
And it's this understanding that this is kind of my new reality, and this new reality is gonna always keep shifting, and that life is gonna move on with or without me. So I have to kind of get used to this and kind of learn how to take care of this, because this will be an issue going forward. Like if I
Right.
spent the years being desensitized to the way that I looked, then maybe I wouldn't be such a positive person that I am. Even though I still have rough days, I still battle with depression,
Mhm.
anxiety, and I still have some body dysphoria because of all of the surgeries, because of the way people treat me. It's spending those unconditional moments with yourself that may be uncomfortable, but it allows you to be open to loving, like to being able to love those parts of yourself, being like, hey, this is a scar. This experience hurt. This experience caused a lot of trauma, but this experience is me. There's no one who can do this but me. I went through this and I made it out, and it might have not a lot of people would have made it out of that experience. So I definitely take it with honor. And even I've had this conversation with there's a lot of Christian people who always tell me like, hey, just know like whenever you die and you make it to heaven, God's gonna make you over brand new. And
Mm.
I've always said that like when I go to heaven, I want to be the same way that I left.
I love that.
I wanna take I've worked so hard in this body the way that God gave it to me, like after having all of these surgeries. I feel like to honor that going forward, I don't want to be made new when I go to my next life. I want to
Right.
keep this same, because this I worked hard for this. I worked hard for this, and I love every second of it. And if you take this, if you take my scars away from me, if you take these skin grafts away from me, then I have nothing to share. There's no
Yeah.
evidence of what I've done. There's no evidence of the 15 years of hard work, battling everything that I went through, going from being assaulted in public, or having people throw stuff at me because of the way that I looked, or being
Mm.
shammed into a locker when I was in high school, getting death threats from kids that I didn't know, getting Photoshop memes of people taking photos of me when I wasn't and that I didn't know, photoshopping them, passing them around in the group chat. I've worked so hard to get beyond that and to use all of that negativity and turn it to something else. I don't want no one to take my scars away from me. I've owned these now.
Wow. So let me know if I'm hearing this right, because I could just be hearing things. I believe you're saying to me that something didn't happen to you, it actually happened for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am
Yeah.
I incorrect by saying that?
No, no, you're absolutely correct. Like people always ask, if you had one wish, you would just change the accident, right? I'm like, no, I wouldn't change it. I probably would like add more mental health to like being in counseling more often when I was going through all of the surgeries. I would do something different, or maybe I'll use that wish on someone else. But in terms of changing the accident, I wouldn't do that. I feel like my life is better now than it would have been if my family didn't have that change.
Right.
Like I have a lot of cousins who are the same generation, like first generation cousins. I have my brother. They've been in trouble with the law. They've been in trouble with maintaining dreams and maintaining goals. I feel like I would have been just like that, and I've always looked up to my brother. So I
Right.
would have been just like him. I probably would have fell into the same things as him. Probably would have a lot of tattoos that probably wouldn't be like I would have fell into that same Chicago, like the South Side lifestyle
Mhm.
that many of us black men get consumed by. It's not that we choosing it by choices, that we get thrown into it because of the accident. Being
Yeah.
not able to really hang out with kids because of I can get infections from them.
Mhm.
My mom motivating me. I spent 5 years of the five first years of the accident. I spent them at homeschool. I
Right.
sat at the kitchen table for hours every single day reading books. Then I eventually went to high school. I went to Gwendolyn Brooks College Preparatory Academy, and I learned that I can use art to talk about things. I can use photography to talk about things that I necessarily didn't have the words for.
Mhm.
And then being able to share stories with others. I've met probably over several, maybe a few dozen thousands of people so far, and being able to connect with their lives. If I changed all of that, I wouldn't have met those awesome people. They wouldn't have changed. They wouldn't have had the moment to change me. I wouldn't have the moment to change them, and I value that so much. Like I value that beyond life itself is those connections that I've made over the past almost 16 years. So I wouldn't take any of it back. I wouldn't take the 61 surgeries back. I wouldn't take the
Mm.
thousands of staples and stitches that I've endured. I would do it all over again if I had to. I will hope not to, but that's just it, you know.
Joshua, so you're kind of a big deal. Like people really look up to you, they respect you, and with this position, there comes a lot of responsibility. Have you met someone that totally changed your life? Then you felt like they needed you more than you needed them.
When I first started at Admireware, I would say there was a few months in, I had made this custom cut and sew hoodie. It looks I don't sell a lot of it because it looks bland, but really the
Okay.
secret is in the sleeves. In the
Mm.
sleeves, there's affirmations. There's affirmations when you flip over your sleeve, there's affirmations. So when you turn your wrist over to potentially harm yourself, or if you're trying to be in secrecy, you
Mm.
flip over your sleeves and now you have access to 10 different affirmations, like on each sleeve. I think it's total 10 affirmations. And there's
Okay.
affirmations hidden on the inside of the hood instead of the outside.
Mhm.
And there's a young gentleman in the southern part of America who bought this particular hoodie who was struggling with mental health.
Right.
And this particular time, I was up at like 4 a.m. just like chilling on my phone, and I got a message request.
Mhm.
This gentleman was about to take his life that night.
Oh,
And
wow.
he forgot he didn't realize that he was wearing my hoodie when he was attempting to cut his own wrist and to pass away that night. So when he turned his wrist over to harm himself, he saw the affirmations. And the affirmations made him roll his sleeve back up, roll his sleeve back down, and he ended up crying himself to sleep. And he woke up early that morning to text me and tell me thank you for saving his life. With just the simplest things with that hoodie, with having the affirmation on the sleeve, he was about to take his life that night because he didn't realize that he was wearing that hoodie. When he flipped it over to have that act to take himself out, he ended up being met with the love, knowing that he deserves to be here. He deserves another chance. He deserves to not give up. And that story forever sticks with me. I think that story undeniably I think about first each and every time I think about why I do what I do is to keep having moments like that I wish that I had when I was 16 and I was suicidal and going through everything that I was going through. I didn't have access the way that I'm creating messages of hope, love, and purpose. I didn't have access to that at 16, and I feel like without my mom being on my butt all the time, I probably wouldn't be alive today. So she was on me and made
Yeah.
sure I stayed in counseling, made sure I bettered my mental health. She made sure she checked in with me and made sure that I had a safe environment at home so I could protect myself mentally.
Say body, body, body. Woo!